iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz. The best or nothing.
I have seen In the Heights. It is such a beautiful film. So congratulations to the two of you. Jimmy, I want to start with you. You were a very early supporter of In the Heights when it was on Broadway. You used to do the TV voiceovers for the commercials, and here you are about to co-star in this film to be seen by millions of people. And I'm just curious, did you ever think that this is where you would be with this film or this project?
I'm just cheerleader extraordinaire. You know, when I saw them doing it off Broadway, and then many times on Broadway. It was the real deal then, and just so impressed with the young Lin-Manuel Miranda and Quiara and what all the cast wound up doing, and to see Olga in all of these different iterations, and now on the silver screen, I'm just ecstatic to be able to, have a part in a small contribution of something that John Chu as a director expanded upon. And they're just some beautiful brushstrokes that you see on the film, and it's something that we need right now, I think.
Absolutely. And Olga, you have been a part of In the Heights since the very beginning, and you are the heart and soul of In the Heights. And watching you perform in this film is nothing more than, I think, the most beautiful performance ever. So I'm curious what the pride factor for you, having been attached to this since the very beginning and now with the film.
I am so proud. That's the right word. Thank you. And so grateful and so humbled. And so I feel so lucky to have been given the opportunity to play my theater role. You know, this doesn't happen often, to be able to play this role that I originated in the movie. And so I'm just ecstatic to have had this incredible journey with this one role that who is like this quintessential matriarch, and just so loving and giving and wise and passionate, and loves her community. To be able to have been given the chance to portray her yet again, I mean, I'm just beyond happy. I'm the happiest girl in the world.
Scott, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
I'm so happy to be here with you today, Sarah Jane.
So, if I'm not mistaken, you didn't have a part in the original Broadway production of In the Heights, correct?
That's correct.
Or did you? Okay.
No, I did not. My friends produced that.
So what was it about seeing the Broadway musical that you said, this has to be a feature film?
Well, I happened to be privileged enough to be at opening night of In the Heights on Broadway and loved it, and realized its groundbreaking sensibility. And certainly we had never heard music like that on a Broadway stage before. So everything about it was fresh and new and poignant. And I remember just being a fan of it. And then a few years later, I think the musical won the Tony for Best Musical in 2008, I believe. Mm-hmm. And so in 2011, I was in Atlanta, Georgia, producing a film for Disney. And we asked Lynn to have a role in the movie. And we were on set in Atlanta. And Lynn came over to me one day while they're changing the lights and setting up the next scene, and said, "Hey, my In the Heights movie was set up at another studio, and they've just decided not to make it." And I said, "I'd love to do it." And he said, "Would you?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to produce it if it's available." So he said, "Yeah, let's do it." So we started a journey in 2011. We finished that movie. It came out in 2012. And started to put all the pieces together. I had met John Chu in 2010 on the Disney lot, where I had a first look feature deal at the time, and was mesmerized by John's energy, his fascination and passion with music and dance and storytelling. And so I called Lynn and I said, "What do you think of John Chu directing In the Heights?" And he said, "Oh my God, Vanessa and I had our first date scene Step Up. We love John Chu. So in many ways, it was kismet that came together. And then we went about trying to put the movie together, and it's been a 10-year journey to go from that first conversation on the set in Atlanta to now having the movie coming out in all of its glory this summer with Warner Brothers.
Quiara, thank you so much for joining iHeartRadio Broadway today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So as a writer and as someone who saw the original Broadway musical, I'm curious if it's a difficult process having to adapt a screenplay, knowing that there are going to be cuts and changes. Is that a difficult process for you, or do you find it a little bit more natural and freeing to make those cuts?
You chose the word, you said it. It felt very freeing, I have to be honest. Now, of course, there were difficult decisions to make. Oftentimes, I cut a character I loved. We had to cut a few songs that are phenomenal songs that I love. But those cuts came after a lot of trial and error when those elements were just not holding up so well in the transition to film. So those were the hard parts, but much more than that, it was freeing. I'm like, I want to see Abuela Claudia get on the subway. I want to see, the subways here in Washington Heights, because of the way the topography works. Like some of the descents into the subway platforms are like vertiginously steep.
They're crazy.
I'm like, I want to see on the hottest day of the summer, this old woman who's, is no spring chicken. I want to see her like go to take the escalator, and like half the time the escalator's broken and she has to take those steps down and she has to wait on the platform and then get on the train. And I want to see her remembering her life in Cuba during those times.
And I'm curious what the experience for both of you filming in Washington Heights for this film.
Well, the energy, SJ, just being there. I'm so glad that they fought for that, and I couldn't conceive it being anywhere else. But it just fueled us knowing that the community was aware that the film was being shot there, and the significance of the success of the play and what Lynn has wound up doing since the beginning of that. And the pride, Olga talked about pride before, and orgullo was everywhere. And it really, it strengthened the ensemble, who I think was already very, very strong in terms of all of the work the hard work that this ensemble did. So it was a joy every day to be doing it there.
And Olga, same question.
Yeah, there was nowhere else we could shoot it. I mean, this was the genuine original place, and it was, we would see the actual people that lived in Washington Heights. We'd see ourselves. Oh my God, look, there's Abuela Claudia. Look. Oh, there's Daniela, there's Usnavi. And so it was like we were in it. And there was, we were going to the shops and the Dominican bakeries and having the cafecitos. And so we were fueling also the economy there. So they loved having us there. And it's Lynn's neighborhood too. And so there was no other place to shoot it. And it was just a great backdrop, and it was just it just felt seamless to be there, the right place at the right time.
I think one of the new changes that I love is the relationship between Daniela and Carla. There's this new beautiful love story between the two of them, and I'm curious what prompted that change and to have that queer representation in the film.
Well, this is a domino effect, right? You make one change and other changes happen. So basically, one of the most difficult changes was to cut the character of Camila and have Nina be raised in a single parent household. We thought after a lot of trial and error that the pressure of her success would be even heightened if she had only one parent. So that really, and she was an only child, so that really all her papi's hopes and dreams are on her shoulders,
Mm-hmm.
It kind of increases the stakes of that. But when we lost Camila, we did lose a married couple in the neighborhood. And I was just a little wary of some old stereotypes bubbling up and people saying, well, they're all broken homes. And I was like, no, they're not broken homes. Okay. So I was like, I need a married couple. And so for me, an option came up of like, oh, Daniela and Carla, they're the business owners. They've built their business together. So they're both partners in life and business partners. And I loved it. And it really brought back a lot of memories of women I knew who were married in the community growing up, that were proud, talked about feminism, talked about empowerment, and were at ease in their skin. Those were some mentors I had in the Puerto Rican community in Philly growing up. So I got to put some of their spirit into Daniela and Carla.
What I love about this film is it is a combination of Broadway legends. You've got Daphne, you've got Lynn,
Yes.
other Christopher Jackson, but then you have all these newcomers as well. And I don't want to say that Corey Hawkins is a newcomer, but he's new to like the musical theater world.
Yes,
So
of course.
I'm curious with the casting choices. Were these roles difficult to cast, or was it as soon as you saw them, this is what it was?
No, I would say it was challenging because, there was a vision that John and our colleagues had for who they wanted to play these roles. I think Anthony was always, someone that Lynn and all of us had in our mind for Usnavi. But the rest of the cast, it was really important. Again, authenticity, fresh faces, giving the opportunity to create stars, using this beautiful musical and this property and this story to like bring new artists into the fold of theater and musical theater and musical film, was all really a part of our intention. So as we moved through the casting process, we saw a lot of people, as you can imagine, and but it was great, and each time, each one of these actors that ultimately got the roles, I would say, to your earlier question, we knew when we saw them, we went, okay, I think that's going to be Sunny. Oh, I think that's going to be Vanessa. It was great. It was great.
And I think one of the most amazing things for me, I grew up on In the Heights. It was a show that I loved seeing on the stage, but now you're about to usher in a brand new fan base for In the Heights and a brand new musical theater fan base. So I'm curious what that sense of happiness and joy is to see these new generations of theater goers, basically.
I mean, I love this. I love theater goers and theater fans. It's just, they're a special kind of people, that are, they value the work of the theater, the hard work of live theater that we've missed tremendously this past year, and hopefully it will be back soon. And so I love the idea of having a whole new generation of fans for In the Heights, and the people that have never seen it before, that are going to discover this story, this story about culture, about family. The music is just the music and dance is spectacular, and I can't wait.
And Jimmy, what do you want fans to take away from this film when they turn their televisions off and they leave their living rooms? What do you want them to take away from this film?
Well, hopefully they're going to be watching it on the big screen also.
There too.
Because keep taking those vaccines and get out there and go to the movies in the summertime.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, SJ, for me, after when I saw that cut that we got to see, it, the universality of the movie is just so strong, and I know that audiences, even if you're not a musical theater, fan, that those universal themes in terms of home, in terms of community and family, what people come to this, that have come here from other places, and we've all come from other places, that what that all means, those universal chords. John Chu he did it in a wonderful way with Crazy Rich Asians, and he has a much broader canvas here because of this quality of having music as well, and he's been able to do some great things. So I think audiences will enjoy it in a more universal kind of way.
every once in a while you see something in this genre that just, completely is groundbreaking. I mean, the last time I remember when I went to sit in the balcony at the AMC or the Regal in 42nd Street Times Square and saw Moulin Rouge for the first time. And, I was on the floor. I had never seen a filmmaker take musical theater as a genre and turn it on its ear in such a way. Boz obviously did that a lot with music, which was groundbreaking. No one had ever used, 50 different composers to make up a score before. And I think John Chu has done the same thing within the Heights. I think he has taken this genre with great love and great respect, and at the same time brought a freshness to it in a way that I haven't seen a movie musical like this since Moulin Rouge.
And moving just a tiny bit away from In the Heights, with Broadway announcing we are reopening in September, any plans for your next Broadway project?
Well, I happen to, I'm grateful that I'm a part of the company revival production. And Patti LuPone and Katrina Lenk and the rest of the cast will be back later this year. My Tootsie Tour is going out finally this fall, opening in Buffalo. Again, with all of these delays, but we've all had to endure this. Our movie was supposed to come out last June. It's now coming out this June. So everyone's been, as you know, really hunkering down, and it's been a rough year. And I think that when we moved the film release a year last June, it seemed like forever and a day that was going to be the case. And but we all knew that it was the right thing to do. And here we are now, serendipity once again, that In the Heights is coming out almost right when everybody's ready to come out of the house, begin their summer, have a fresh day, have a fresh look at their lives. And I think that the pure joy that comes from In the Heights as a movie is hopefully going to be a great antidote for all the grayness that we've had in the last year.
Well, the movie is absolutely stunning. It's a wonderful example of how musical theater can be done at its finest on film. So congratulations, Scott. I can't wait for people to see this film.
Sarah. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz. The best or nothing.